This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally, yes.
It's an absolute riot, and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time.
What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura. Made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months. Before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado. Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
It's Wednesday, Adams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
Cavalry Audio.
Recording. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Whoa.
Welcome back, Murder Chronicles Nation. And Carolyn is back to her old ways of finding the craziest fucking people to do a podcast episode about. So, welcome back, Carolyn.
Yeah, I know. This one is like running on all cylinders of like what is going on.
Gosh. And I love your pulp title, Terror at the Farmhouse, right? That's
Yeah.
But it is. I'm like, what is this title? It's kind of cheesy. But then I listened to the episode and I went, oh my gosh, how else could you describe what happened there to kids, right? To unsuspecting like adults that are like in need and that like need a leg up and they wind up walking into the really, really brutal. So but before we get to that, hi. How are you?
Oh, I thought you said I'm doing great. How are you?
Family's good?
Yeah, everything's good. Yeah.
Great.
What about you?
Good. Yeah, I just got back. I had my kids at the dentist today. They got their mother's teeth, thankfully, because they're great. I had notoriously not soft teeth, but deep anatomy in my teeth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So food would get jammed down in there, like on the, and couldn't. So I had a ton of cavities.
Tell it to me, brother.
Right, tons of cavities growing up. And then when I left home when I was pretty young, and I came out to LA, and the first dentist I went to, he said, he goes, "How come you didn't get blah 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 procedure when you were as soon as all your grown up teeth came in?" And what the fuck are you talking about? He said, "There's like a liquid kind of ceramic kind of treatment that fills in those super deep crevices in your tooth anatomy and would have prevented all of that." I went, oh, son of a bitch. Small town Jersey dentist didn't even probably know the word ceramic where I went.
I know my kids live in a different world. Like it's like how they can do the sealants, and it's like what did we go through?
We went through pain. Yeah,
I know. And my husband grew up in Denver, so apparently they have this like great fluoride system. So his teeth are like freaking kryptonite, and so I get what you're saying. Unfortunately, mine are not the same, and I'm like, every time he comes back, and it's just like, great, another great dental review, right?
Yeah, man. I never had one good dental visit when I was a kid. And my first dentist was like right out of Rocky Horror. Okay, you'll be a dentist. This guy, and he died young, and that's a tragedy. But he he was like a football coach, right? Like I'm like 9 and on the ceiling with pain, and he would like call me a wimp. You're being a wimp, Brandon. Take it. And it hurt so much. And it turned me and
talk about how the world changes, right?
No gloves, right? Just no mask, just dirty ass man fingers in your face, right? It was crazy. And it turned me off to the dentist so much. I had such a paralyzing fear of going to the dentist into my adulthood, okay? That like 5 years ago, I get in this terrible car accident that almost kills me, okay? And when I finally get out of the hospital and I recover, I needed like reconstructive, like spinal surgery on my cervical spine. I have like a titanium spine. You see the scar down here? They had like rebuild my spine. So,
oh my gosh.
My pre-op, right? In my pre-op before the surgery, the surgeon's like, all right, on any meds? And I'm like, yeah, I'm taking a fucking buttload of Advil like every day. He goes, why? I said, well, I got a tooth that hurts and I hate the dentist. And he looks at it, he goes, okay, I can't operate on you until you get that fixed because it's in your lower jaw and that infection is close to the surgical area and it could be bad. So you have to go to the dentist. So I was forced to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
Dentist looks at my mouth and she goes, damn.
Right. You got some problems.
And I felt like such a scumbag. And right. So they looked okay on the surface, right? But there was an issue. There were tons of issues. So what she did, she did the root canal and the thing. I got the surgery. I recovered from the surgery, and I go back to see her, and she says, "All right, we're dividing your mouth into 4 quadrants: upper right, upper left, lower left, and we'll do 1 quadrant every 3 months because you're going to feel fucked up after all of this work." I needed like 6 crowns and like 3 root canals, and I had like 11 cavities. It was really bad. It was really bad, but she was so good. My fear of the dentist is completely evaporated.
You know,
it was great.
I have dental anxiety too. I don't like to talk about it a lot because people think, what the fuck, just go to the dentist. But it's like, when you have that anxiety, it's not the same. No. And it's like, you go there, your heart's got palpitations.
Yeah. And like, what is the anxiety for you? What is it? Are you waiting for the pain to hit? That's what it was for me.
No,
I'm waiting for it to be terrible.
You know what? It's deeper than that. It's like my mom with her hand situation when I was a kid, where her hands crunched and they thought she'd be in a wheelchair. She gave that, and I know she didn't mean to do it, but that anxiety of impending doom whenever you go, and just being that vulnerable in that place. And they always like give you the worst news possible. Well, you know what? Like you said, we got to do 4 quadrants. You know, like, it
was brutal. My mom passed on a crippling fear of spiders to me. Okay. And until my oldest daughter turned 5 and we had a petting zoo come to the house, and he had like a tarantula the size of my face. Okay.
Yeah.
And I look out and he had the spider on my daughter's head, and she's like, well, like posing for the fucking Instagram pictures and shit. Right. And I went, all right. She's like, Daddy, come let the spider crawl on you. And I went, okay. Cause I'm not going to like piss myself in front of my daughter, cause I'm so scared. So I went and I faced that shit, complete in the moment exposure therapy. And I held this spider in my hand, and it started like crawling up my arm. And I went, yeah, great. It's so soft. Shitting my pants. Okay.
Oh my gosh. That's great though.
But did it. And it felt like, in my mind, the spider was on me for like an hour and a half. All right. I watched the video afterwards, and it was like 4 seconds.
Did you ever watch Fear Factor?
I didn't. No, because they would do shit that would scare me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, that's great that you were able to, so you don't have any fears of spiders at all now.
No, I'm the guy that will go catch a spider and save its life. Yeah. Yeah. Like completely swung the other way. Yeah. Same thing with dentists and spiders. And I used to never be able to get in an elevator because of claustrophobia. Like I'd take the stairs, even if it's like 30 flights. But I do that now too.
You and I are such fucking weirdos.
But face it. You face the fears.
I know, but can you walk up a ladder?
Yeah, I'm not superstitious at all. I'm not superstitious at all. I don't knock on wood. I walk under ladders, all that shit. Like I was afraid of like ice baths for a long time, and now I do them almost every day, right? It's great.
Why? What's
Because
wrong with an ice bath?
it would just scare me. It would just scare me, right? I don't know why. But now it's almost become unhealthy where I seek out things that scare me so I can confront them, you know?
Wow, that is good.
Yeah, but a little too much. Like I'm starting to thinking about like, oh, maybe I want to like challenge a stranger to a fight because that scares me. And that's stupid. Right. So
yeah, that is dumb.
yeah, I know. I know.
Sure.
But I'm prone to taking things to the extreme.
Well, if you're gonna start a fight with someone, Michelle Notek is now out of prison.
I couldn't believe
I don't know if you'll win.
I don't want to go near her. I don't want to get any of it on me. You know what I mean? She's it's just so let's talk about that. Nice segue, by the way. That was brilliant. So Tara at the farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Again, very cinematic opening that you gave us. Very visual. You know, this poor human creature struggling and suffering, right? And mostly nude and like covered in mud and shit. Just awful. And we're like, how the fuck are we going to end up here, right? And you got us there. Okay, you got us there. So give us a little bit of background, like how you found the story and why it appealed.
I didn't. Crazy Shelley did. Crazy Shelley brought us there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know how I think I don't even remember how I came upon this story. I think it's kind of like when I heard about the wallowing. I mean, that really, really. I felt really conflicted when I first heard about the story about the kids.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm kind of have a little bit of shame about it because at first I was really upset with the kids. And then after I've thought about it and I've read their interviews, and I haven't read the book that Greg Olson, who's a really well-known author nationally, but also from the Pacific Northwest. It's just one of those things when parents turn their kids into monsters I understand it so much more now than when I first started doing true crime, basically. I felt like I understand psychologically kind of more, but my knee-jerk reaction was like, how could these kids do this to poor Kathy? Yeah. But I do think that it's like that's how the mind works when you're in a cult or you're twisted around by somebody.
And it's Stockholmy, maybe.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your reaction to the children?
Like, it's funny, the parallel, not really a parallel, but I'm reading To Kill a Mockingbird to my daughter right now. Okay.
Oh, that's my favorite book.
Yeah. So, and we're at the part now where the Cunningham kid where we learn about the Cunningham family, and the Scout's new teacher isn't familiar with all of like the basically the caste system going on in Macomb County, where the Cunningham kid is fucking dirty and no shoes and he's in overalls, and the teacher goes to give him a quarter for lunch and he won't take it. Right. And so you find out that the Cunninghams, they're super, super poor. They get by on nothing. They don't take anything from anybody, and they're not going to. Okay. And that's how the kids grew up, and that's how they are. You could offer them $100 like for free, and they just won't take it because these kids were conditioned when they were young. That's not what we do. We don't need handouts. We don't need this. You go to school for the first day, so the truant officer sees you there, and then you come back and you get back in the fucking fields and like all of that. And so it reminded me a little bit of that is, and I'm going to get roasted for this, but I used to think Ayn Rand was a really big thinker when I was in high school, right? and she wrote a line in The Fountainhead where she wrote, man's character is the product of his premises. Okay. And so it's how these kids grew up, right? And so what do you expect to happen? Do you expect them to be super well adjusted and members of society that are contributing to the greater good? I think that's not a realistic expectation.
Well, I think that and I'm going to do this because I don't remember exactly what the study was, but I think it took place back in the 1960s. And basically they had students come in and they became the jailers and the over students who were prisoners. Are you familiar with that study?
Oh yeah.
And basically, yeah. And so then they turned into these freaking tyrants.
Absolutely.
And we're literally giving them electric shock.
Yep.
And so I was thinking a lot about
it's crazy. Right? Yeah.
No. And how the brain kind of processes this stuff. It's so reptilian.
It's so reptilian. Is it like,
so primal.
Is it, you know, is it like a cycle of abuse? Like if you were abused, you're going to be an abuser. Or like you want to get some kind of cosmic revenge. All of this shit happened to me. I just want to find a weaker person so I can victimize them. And that'll make me feel better, but it never does. But you don't know that when you're a kid. You know, it's just so toxic.
We'll be back after a quick break.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's almost out and fall's calling. Luckily, Nordstrom has everything you need for the season ahead, all under $100. Discover new arrivals from your favorite brands like Mango, Princess Polly, Wave, Free People, BDG, and more. Whether you're planning a last-minute getaway, heading back to class, or refreshing your office looks, you'll find the latest trends and beauty must-haves without breaking your budget. It's easy, too, with free shipping, free returns, and in-store order pickup. Shop today, in stores, and at Nordstrom.com.
It's so, I think for most people, it's really hard to understand. I had a friend once and I was really upset about something. Mm-hmm. And I went to this person and actually revealed something that I was really upset about, you know, and this person I remember looked at me and I could see her lips kind of curl upward and into this weird kind of like, smile. And it was the first insight into this person. She's no longer a friend, but like she was somehow getting pleasure.
Schadenfreude, right? Isn't that the German word? Schadenfreude?
Freud, yeah.
Schadenfreude, yeah.
But somehow, like I saw it in that little, and I'm not saying she's a serial killer. I'm just saying that I could tell based on her reaction. And I was like really like coming to her, you know? And it creeped me out. And I feel like this is the tip of the iceberg with that, where somebody, for whatever reason, gets off on you struggling, on you being beaten down and abused. Like the kids with the pubic hair and like watching them like laugh, like most people are not going to understand this. It's the same way where guys get off on, you know, the violentization of sex, and it's really about power.
Of course. Well, that's who's that? Oscar Wilde.
Not about the sex, although it takes that form, but it's about power.
Oscar Wilde, he said everything is about sex except sex. Sex is about power.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes.
Fucking, yes. What a weirdo that guy was.
It's like, you know, how else do you yeah. I love Dorian Gray. I mean, that's like one of my favorite, you know, I mean, it's that's what this woman was, right? Speaking of Oscar Wilde.
Oh, Jesus. So let's talk about this, these punishments that would be doled out. These just the abject humiliation.
Yeah.
That you would put wallowing. You gotta just roll around. You gotta strip down and just humiliate and degrade yourself for her enjoyment in the mud.
Yeah.
And then get sprayed down with ice cold water.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Awesome. And then, hey, jump off the fucking roof. You better take your shoes off first. God damn it. Now jump off the roof.
Right.
And
Into the gravel. Into the
the gravel. Yeah. Okay. So you're hobbled. You have a couple of broken legs and huge open gashes on your feet. Don't worry. I got some boiling water and bleach. Clear that right up.
It's insane.
Where the fuck do you get this? Right? Like, where does someone like,
well, I think what happened is it started with her brothers.
Yeah.
You know, it started with the brothers. We're like, why would you? Okay, you got little brothers, and instead of bonding together, you are cracking a sock full of a Coke bottle, and then you're putting it into their shoes.
Broken glass in their shoes. Yeah.
Clearly, it's a ramping up. It's the ramping up, causing drama, accusing loved ones of abuse that didn't happen, allegedly didn't happen. And then, she feeds off of it. She feeds off of that.
So where does it start? That's the thing. I know that's a larger kind of psychological question, but like, if there isn't, if you go back through her ancestry and you see her mom and dad were like super well adjusted and, and business people or public servants or whatever that lived and died abiding by the law, and they came from the 5 generations back, a family of European immigrants that came over or whatever American story is, right? And then was this woman just born with a fucking screw loose or like some mental defect?
I think that it's hard to know. It could be in her case, I would probably say a little bit of both, because it sounds like, her mom was very unstable and she had a really rocky, but again, it's kind of that nature versus nurture situation. And, it's hard to, like, for example, one of the cases that I'm researching right now is the, which has already been done many times, but I just interviewed the detective that worked the Night Stalker case.
Oh, great.
And and he was talking about how
it was in LA, right?
Yeah, it was in LA. It was in LA and San Francisco.
Right. Okay.
But the detective was basically, I asked him the question about, was Richard Ramirez nature versus nurture? I had read a quote from a psychiatrist who basically said, based on his childhood, which was severely, he had just like the worst childhood ever, and just was, I'm not going to go into it here, but he's like, he was definitely not born necessarily a serial killer, whereas some, and it sounds like maybe Michelle Notek, was born.
Right.
Speaking
of the Night Stalker, I used to have a boss years ago who, from LA, and when California, LA was in the grips of the guy was still out there and was fucking, killing people, that a percentage, like a high percentage, like almost, probably not all, but most of the victims lived in like light blue houses, like a block from a freeway entrance. Okay. And my boss lived in a light blue house a block from a freeway entrance in the valley. And so like the FBI was like staked out there, right? At any house that fit the description, that fit into his pattern as they were developing the profile. And he was like, oh yeah, great. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Right. I know. And that's the thing about this house that she lived in, just looked perfect with the mailbox with the little, I could just see the prints and the stars, like, come on, kids, being out in the yard. And it was all bullshit.
So the fact that 2 of her kids wound up, it was 2 of them, right? They wound up coming back and taking her down. That's what's so impressive about it. You know?
And that's their little sister was still there.
Yeah. And they went back for so that's a stronger bond. A stronger bond is, I think, siblings rather than will overcome fear of abuse or fear of a terrible parent or whatever. Like they get old enough to figure it out. But so backing up a little bit, a lot of your stories have some similarities, right? And in this one is, very unlucky in love, this woman. All right, apparently, right? Like married, child, divorced, married, child, divorced, married, right? She was like on her 3rd husband by the time they moved into this farmhouse, correct?
Well, I don't think it was unlucky in love. I think that she sabotaged and like chased those guys away with her manipulation and like who wouldn't run away from that? Like, I can't believe David Notek didn't, like, okay, the second she starts abusing me, he stuck around still, where maybe the other ones were like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, what would make you stick around? Like, what? Like,
well, domestic violence does go towards men too. Clearly he was in that cycle. Well, and I think that's why probably why more men don't come forward, because of the stigma of it in a different way than it is for women,
Yeah.
I mean, how could you even based on our society, show your face if you came and said, yeah, my wife just totally beat me? I mean, you're laughing and I had to stop.
I am not
myself because I knew you were going to laugh, but it's true.
So yes, that's a fair point that you made, that I honestly, embarrassingly, eluded me about how men could be subject to that level of abuse over an extended period. Because if you're at the hands of a really talented abuser, which she obviously was because she had a lot of practice, because it's not just physical, right? Someone who's more powerful than you have to have some kind of emotional or psychological control over them as well, which I'm sure she knew those levers to pull as well. And
yeah.
And then the physical abuse starts, and then you're in a cycle of humiliation and torment and verbal abuse and emotional abuse, and then back to the physical abuse because you feel like now you deserve it. And so the next thing you know, it's, man, that's crazy.
I mean,
yeah,
Shane, Shane was going to come forward, and it's like, and there was an interview with the daughter later, and she's like, I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I went and told my mom, which I think that's a really honest answer. Yeah. Like, she didn't know what would happen. She's a kid. And somebody could say, why did you know what Shelly's going to do? You know what she's capable of. You've seen her. But it's like, these are not fully developed adults. These are kids. And, in an impossible situation,
So talk about one of the interview subjects, the brother of one of the victims. That guy was great. That was great. He's very angry, as he should be. Very, very angry. Yeah. And to hear him talk about it, like, he talks kind of quickly in some points because he wants to just get through it, right? He doesn't want it to sit in his mind for too long, is my opinion of how he's
exactly. Yeah.
Describing like the steel-toed boots, kicking her in the face, kicking in the head, like all that kind of shit. And they just, the broken jaw. Imagine having a broken jaw for fucking 6 days.
Well, and that's what it sounded as I was re-listening to it. I was like, my question seems so dumb, but it's like, how do you recover from that? Right. Like,
what a great line. You don't.
Right. And that's why I kept that in there, because he's so right. Because it's like, I'm still processing kind of as he's telling me this. And it's like, if there was any possible way that she could have, they would have just kept her in a cave, living with a broken jaw, wallowing and everything else. I mean, she lost over 100 pounds. I mean, but that was not even related to the broken jaw.
Right. Eventually,
her whole time there. And then this whole thing of starving and then giving her rotten food. Like, can you even imagine, like, the kind of, what are you getting off on watching someone forcing them to eat rotten food?
This is what I said to you yesterday before, and we stopped. I said, I'll save it for the recording. But, like, what is her motivation? Like, why was it just pure sadism? Like, that's it? I like to see other people suffer.
Yes. Like, that's it. It has to be. I mean, what else could it be? And this is how, I mean, like, she probably her eyes just drank it in. Like, yeah.
Powerful. Yeah. Like, going back to Times Square Torso Killer, the Confessions episode, where, you feel like God. When the guy said that, he said, God doesn't decide who dies, God decides who lives, kind of thing, right? And so she maybe felt a lot of power. She must have felt a lot of power when she was really making every decision in the lives of her captors.
And keeping them and keeping them in fear, and keeping them
in fear, keeping them in a constant state of humiliation and degradation and shame and all that. Yeah, that's brutal. That is brutal. And then these unsuspecting other, like, oh, I'm going to help you out and you can move in and blah, blah, blah. And it'll be great. And just start it all over again. Another victim. And then they shoot the kid, right? Eventually they shoot him, they burn him, right? It's never nice to hear, like, what was it? A homemade crematorium. You got some fucking problems if you're like, hey, you know what we need? We need an at-home crematorium just to kind of clean up for our lives.
I can fix it. I know. I know. And then it took them so long to figure it out, too. Like the girls are like, help us, please. And they were right to be like worried that nothing would happen if they came forward.
More Murder Chronicles after the break.
Una silla de masajes puede parecer extravagante. 8 configuraciones diferentes, intensidad ajustable, además es calefaccionado. Y se siente tan bien. Sí, una silla de masajes puede parecer extravagante. Y 2, bueno, aún más. Pero cuando esas sillas de masajes vienen con un auto, se vuelven bastante prácticas. El nuevo Volkswagen Tiguan 2025 con funciones premium como los asientos delanteros con masaje disponibles. Solo parece extravagante.
This episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Podcasts follow us everywhere. Whether you're cooking in the kitchen, chilling in the living room, or pretending to fold laundry in the bedroom. And with Wayfair, every one of those rooms can tell a story of its own. Their curated collections of furniture styles and prices make Wayfair the trusted destination to turn your home into your happy place. Shop everything home at wayfair.com with free and easy delivery straight to your door.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
What I can't wrap my mind around, and honestly, of all of the crazy shit in this episode, what sticks out for me is why make someone jump off the roof? I don't know, like, how, even if you're a sadist, right? Is that the most creative thing you could come up with? Right? Just jump off the roof. I want to see you suffer. Jump off the roof.
I think that maybe it's the notion that you could make somebody jump off a roof. Like, that's a saying, hey, go jump off a roof.
Right. But I'm saying, like, why not, like, heat up a fork on the stove and burn yourself? Ha ha. Right. At least there's some drama there.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's what's, and listen, trying to make sense.
To me, I really get with the wallowing. To me, the wallowing is hands down, like, what that says, and having your kids, especially being a mom,
it's treating someone less than human. It's treating someone, like a pig, basically. That's
exactly what her term was. Like, you're gonna need to wallow. I mean, she knew that that's where that term would be coming from. A pig's wallow. We're a pig.
Fuck. And okay, so fast forwarding to the end of this fucking reign of terror. So people actually they did some time. They pled, right? They were found guilty. They were sentenced. And then she got out of jail. Because she pled it down. She pled it down to what? From murder to manslaughter?
Well, she took that Alford plea. We talked about that before.
Alford plea. Yep. Thank you very much. I knew what you were talking about. I felt all smart in this episode. I'm like, I know what an Alford plea is. Ha ha ha. Heathens. Heathens.
No, I mean, she basically thought she was going to get 18 years. And then the deal ended up, the judge was like, no, you're getting 22. You're
getting all of it. Yeah.
Getting all of it. And I thought your favorite part would be when the brother talked about the call that he got from the woman who was in prison, her alleged ex-girlfriend.
That was super cool. Yeah. Prison romance, right? It got kind of sexy for a minute. Yeah.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Kidding. I'm totally kidding.
God,
I'm totally kidding. But that's on my list to talk about, because in one of the earlier episodes that I loved, I think still my favorite character in any of your episodes was about who killed the Dermans. That wonderful, wonderful female detective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she mentioned how many times Matt, all right, how many times there are jailhouse confessions? She goes, it happens all the time where people like, maybe I want some more fucking color TV this week. I'm gonna tell on somebody. I'm gonna drop a dime, right? And so this woman's jailhouse girlfriend was like, yo, I guess it wasn't true love because this woman betrayed her.
Well, and she saw, there are even, I think that it reminded me of like, pedophiles in prison are like the worst, right? Like they get beat up.
And how
there's that pecking.
Yeah, the joy in his voice where he heard she was beaten up every day. She had to go to.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I
was so happy about
I know.
Good for him.
I was like, yeah, because they watched that show and they saw, and I think that it's like you can't hide, right?
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, that was a cool part. That was a really interesting jailhouse twist that I wasn't expecting. But I'm still disgusted that she got out. And you could hear the shock and the just complete lack of understanding in his voice. Like, I don't get it. Why is she out there? Like, why is she out? She ended someone's life. She shouldn't have. And he said it. He said, like, it was so beautiful and sad and tragic when he said she shouldn't be able to go out to dinner, and go out and enjoy herself. And he's right. I agree. I listen, I understand, we have a judicial system, and if you serve your time, you serve your time, but it's obviously imperfect. And this is one of those times, where I think the cumulative, taking everything in its totality of the pain that she inflicted on her children and the people who lost their lives, she should relinquish her right to go out to dinner and have a good time.
Well, and not only that, but it's like her access to seniors and vulnerable people.
Like getting beat up in prison for years, like worked for her. Like she's reformed now, Or do you think she came out of there fucking bitter and wanting to hurt people? Was her sadism like sated, or was it inflamed during her time behind bars?
Well, and then also the financial motivation. Clearly, she got Mac to give over rewrite his will for Sissy, and she got the money and she got the house. So she actually, it's not just about sadism, but I think it's also financial. Manipulating these people, getting them to, when you can have the two sides of you. That's what's so scary about these cases, is the two sides. When someone presents some way, like the bunker guy last week, and what's going on inside is completely.
That still has me fucked up, right? That still has me fucked up. Like the patience of that guy. Like I was thinking about it. Like I'm looking at my wife and I'm like, does she have a fucking bunker somewhere? Right? Like is she ready to bounce, and she's just being super cool about it, like this guy,
That's cute.
I had no choice. But all right, so again, a delightfully disturbing episode. So you're true to form. So thank you, you weirdo. What's next?
You know what? I kind of like keeping you guessing.
Damn it. I like teasing the audience, but okay.
You set a precedent.
Yeah, okay. All right, great. Keep me guessing. But I want to apologize for this episode. It's going to be a bit late. So that was my fault. And I will try to not let that happen again. But we really appreciate the listen. Please do us a favor and support the people who support the show. When you hear ads in the show, those are specifically products that Carolyn has endorsed personally through her own personal use. So you can trust, if you trust her, you can trust the products. So please consider supporting people who support our show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Great. And we look forward to catching up with everybody next week. Stay safe.